All right, hello everybody. Okay, week two and AI in action. So this week it's all really about talking to AI and how to work with it. So we're going to kind of look at bad prompting and good prompting here today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started and kind of have some fun here. Okay, so I'm using Claude, but you can use whichever one that you want. I think you will gravitate, like I mentioned last week, you'll kind of gravitate to one. Now, for these, for our AI and action series, I'm not going to run through all three because there are, they're very similar. But I will use my daily driver, which is Claude. Okay, so we're gonna let's try and we're gonna do a new conversation here, and I'm gonna do kind of a week prompt. And let's see here. I'm gonna try something a little different. Um, Tell me about employee scheduling in healthcare. Okay, so what I just did there, actually, I'm gonna briefly just talk about this. And again, not required for this course. Um, However, it's really talking all about AI tools that you can use to make your life easier. And one that I use, like what I just did right there, and I wanted to see if it would actually work in video mode as we're talking here, um, is voice to text. Now, voice to text has been around forever, but it's always been a little, I don't know, not quite perfect. But to be honest, I mean, that's how I used to, I mean, if I was typing long form documents, I'd always use voice to text, the one that was built into Microsoft. But with AI, obviously, it's become a lot better. I hardly ever touch the keyboard, so I would say now, 95% is all done through voice to text with AI powered, and there are some tools out there that you can look at. Um, right now, there's WhisperFlow and Super Whisper. Why they have Whisper? Because that's the engine behind it. It's an OpenAI product. But I've used both. Right now, I use WhisperFlow. I think it's great. Again, I don't type anymore. And especially what we see today, when I talk to AI, it's a very iterative process. So we're going back and forth. I'm talking, it's producing output, or it's talking back to me, and we primarily drive that through text. I told you a little bit last week, like when I'm driving, I'll do voice mode, but for working, it's really I think text-based is kind of the best place to the best mode to do that right now. So that's what we got going on here today. So I'm not going to be hopefully typing as much. All right, so there's a prompt. Kind of weak. If you learned about some of the techniques that we're discussing this week, but let's see what we get. See the kind of output that it has. Okay, all right. We're just going to get a general flavor here, kind of some nice categories. We'll let Claude finish here. But notice I didn't give it a lot of information when I gave that prompt. Just tell me about employee scheduling in healthcare. It took its best stab at thinking what I was looking for. Now, if I was using my Claude account versus the one I made up for this class, it would probably be completely different because it starts to learn about me through context of hundreds and hundreds of hours that we've communicated. So it will pick up, it kind of naturally gets better as it knows who you are. But this one, I've only had like, well, you can see right here. Remember we talked about the chats. I've only had two chats with it. The one that we did last week and then this week. So it's just starting to get to learn who I am. So, all right. So there's that. Oh, look at this. Oh, interesting. Would you like to go deeper on specific areas such as software solutions, legal requirements, nursing staffing ratios, etc.? Okay. So it's even prompting me saying, hey, that was kind of weak. Do you want something else? Well, let's try. Let's do a little bit stronger prompt. So let's. I'm gonna start a new conversation. Kill this context here. All right. So I've pre-scripted a stronger prompt. So here we go. I'm a healthcare administrator at a 200 bed community hospital. My medical surgical unit has been experiencing scheduling conflicts that are contributing to overtime costs and staffing dissatisfaction. I need a one-page memo for my director of nursing that recommends 3 scheduling improvements we can implement within 60 days. Keep it professional and action focused. Okay, so here's the prompt, and hopefully you can hear me when I'm talking, but I'll have to check the the post video on this. I suspect maybe when I start talking to AI using my Super Whisper, you can't hear me. So, but I just literally just said this to the AI. So if you're getting a Chris says I see his lips moving, but I can't hear him. Again, I don't know right now because I haven't checked this in post processing. So, all right, so there we go. But notice this prompt, very specific. I'm giving it context of who I am, what I'm looking for, and that's what you got to do. You got to just dump on it, and don't even like be. If you don't even know where to go, just blather. Just talk. Just talk, 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 talk. Like, oh, I need this, and I work here, and here's my situation, and my boss likes certain things in a certain format or whatever. Just kind of, I would say it's almost best to just throw up on it as much detail and context as possible, than not. It's just going to improve the answers. And then we'll talk about iterative techniques as well. All right, so let's see what we get here. This one is very specific, 200 beds, experiencing scheduling conflicts. Um, I need a one-page memo. Let's hope it nails the one page because what is a page? A page in Europe versus a page in the United States are actually different sizes. So, let's hope that it's, kind of you can kind of nail that. And you're asking for very specific 3 scheduling improvements that you can do within 60 days. All right. So let's see what it comes out with. And I'll say like if you were to ask a consultant, let's go back 5 years ago. Hey, consultant, give me this. That's thousands of dollars. The consultant business is is definitely you're going to hear me say this a lot, but various businesses that are in some challenging times to redefine their value. The consultant business is one of them. But if you're a consultant in AI is not going to take your jobs. All right, so it's cranking through that. Look at this. It's even going to do a docx for me. That's great. I do this all the time too. So I'll say, just before I shot this video, I needed PDF. So I said, give me a PDF. Um, so yes, you could definitely specify the output that you would like. So this one's going to actually give us a Word document. We did say a memo, but we didn't say a Word document. But hey, I'll take that. Okay, now did you see that magic that just happened? I didn't know it would do this. Sometimes it doesn't. It opened up Canvas. So when that second pane opens up, you can read through the document. This is amazing. Okay. Now, did it nail the one page? Yeah, pretty close. I'm fine with it. And the format, I mean, come on. But now let's say I wanted to iterate with it, then I could start talking and we can go back and forth and then you can kind of see real-time changes, as it brings up the document. That's what helps me. That way I can see whatever I'm working on one page and then the changes happening, as I'm talking and we see that chat conversation scrolling on the other page. This is how I do the vast majority of my work is within this canvas view. Okay, so right there, did we see um, those differences? I mean, the specificity. We told it 60 days. We told it the format length. All of that. The the background that was in there, the 200 bed hospital. Um, the tone. This was to my boss, for these recommendations. So all of that was captured within that. So long story short, make sure that you're giving it that all of that context in there, that as much as possible. Um, and you're going to end up getting better outputs throughout. Now, could you get here? Yeah, with that first prompt, you could get here. Okay. And sometimes, you know, just you get lazy and you'll throw that prompt out, but then you'll iterate. You'll so it might take, I don't know. I mean, this email would have taken to come up with these three strategies and to produce this email. I mean, you're probably looking maybe at a day of work. I mean, to really have three strategies that could be expanded upon before all of this, or maybe at least maybe a half day of work. I'd probably Google some ideas, but then to synthesize it and put it all into that. Now, if I was to get lazy and just use that first prompt and then iterate, okay, it might take me 10 minutes so to finally get to this product. But again, to try to avoid, those extra steps, again, give it as much context about your role, again, the general context of the situation, the constraints, the 60 days, we gave it that constraint, the even the format constraints, and the output specification. I want this in a memo format. So, all right, so remember that role, context, constraints, and even output specifications are great ways to think about when you start doing those prompts. The other thing, um, you might hear this one shot. Okay, it's kind of an AI, I guess jargon, one shot. Um, this was a one-shot prompt. So I gave it this prompt and one-shotted it and didn't do any iteration. Uh, Very few things are one shot. So when and even this, I probably, might tweak it up, iterate it, um, a little bit more. But often you'll hear one shot used as a test. It's basically a test. So if I'm testing two different AI models, I'll see, let me put this same exact prompt into another model and see our responses. For example, and when I mean AI models, of course you have the ones that we've been talking about in the class, and there's literally hundreds of other ones, but GPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, whatever. And then within that, each one, if you've noted, and if you haven't noticed this, please do. This little box right here. Okay, they all can change their models. So if you're within GPT, you have different models available to you within that, even within their universe, within their product. Now, what I don't know is with the free account, how many models we get. Yeah, we don't get much. We we get Sonnet 4.6, which is great. Other models. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, so Haiku 4.5 is super fast and light. Um, Sonnet 4.6 is what that's a great daily driver. And of course, they want you to upgrade, right? Opus 4.6 is that's the beast. That's the one that is like amazing, and usually the flagship models of all the big companies are really great. But this one is, I would say, in my opinion, it's PhD level in its abilities. So where this is great bachelor's, master's level person, and it's very fast. So there you go. Use, and we'll talk about this later, but use the right model for the job. In this one, if I was using my big account, I would switch to Opus because I'd really want some deep research. I'd really want some deep thinking on these recommendations. So you get Opus, for the 20 bucks. So you definitely, again, not saying it's necessary for this course, but at some point you probably want to spend the 20 bucks on pick the one that you like, so you can get access to their top models. All right, so there's that. Let's see, what else do we need to cover this week? Okay. All right, so we're going to stay in the same conversation. I do want to we're going to try some of that iteration. So one of the things that I wrote down here in my notes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stay in the same conversation, and we're going to the strong prompt. Okay, but let's send a follow up. that narrows the message. So my suggestion is, let's see. Oh yeah, we're going to focus the first recommendation specifically on self-scheduling technology and include one example that supports it. So this is where the iteration comes into play. Now, I'm not an expert really in this area, so but we'll see. We'll see what it comes out with. Make sure I didn't change the models. Yep, I'm good. All right, we're still in Sonnet 4.6. Okay. Now, if you could, one of the things that's taking a little bit longer, it's re-rendering that in that docx format. Okay, look at this. Yes. All right. So we asked it to focus on self-scheduling technologies, adopt a self-scheduling technology platform, and then it went into some, details here. Amazing. Okay. The next thing, let's send a follow-up prompt. Now rewrite this as a shorter email to my director instead of a oh, I can't say it right, formal memo. Keep the three recommendations, but cut the length in half. Okay. Again, we're iterating, we're changing the format. We're going from a memo to an email, and you know, too long didn't read. I'm just tell you that right now about emails. Do not make long emails. And uh, the AI is great for that. Shorten the email, impactful, because people do not read long emails. They just got to, I see them all the time, and I'm going, do you realize no one's going to read this? Keep them short, bullet points or whatever. AI can help you craft amazing emails. All right, so let's do that. While it's thinking and churning out, now we're changing the format, we're iterating, we're kind of shifting it. Let's see what it comes out with. Okay, and this is actually relatively new, these little email boxes. And I don't think, oh, yes, it does know. I was going to say, how does it know I have a Gmail? Because I signed up with my Google account, so it knows I have a Gmail account. So it even knows if remember, probably most of you signed up with that Gmail account. So I can just go doink and send it with Gmail. Now I'm not doing that because I'm probably working, at a company and I want to use my, company email account to send this. But yeah, look at this, hi director's name. I wanted to flag some scheduling issues on med surge unit. And then boom, not this whole thing, which is a more detailed, maybe follow-up memo. Self-scheduling technology, again, a couple sentences there. Internal float pool, yep, great. Real-time dashboard for nurse charge nurses, yep. Real-time scheduling dashboard. Um, yeah, I mean, this is solid email right there. Not too much iteration that I would have to do. Um, Nice, and I like the way that it shifted tone to that, that kind of email versus memo style, which tends to have more rigid, a little bit formal flavor to it. Okay, so that looks really great. So what we did was we kind of narrowed it. We've redirected in a different way. So again, iterate, talk to it, tell it what you want to see at the end and give it as much context as possible. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, we kind of already did it. I didn't think it would force it out, but it did. It pulled up Canvas, and I wanted to show you Canvas so we can save a couple minutes on this week's video by not going over that. But because we've already been looking at Canvas. Now, I will say a trick. So if you're working with it, and let's say, hey, write me this whatever, and you don't see that, like, where's that little magic window? Literally tell it, um, hey, could you please open Canvas so I can see this and we can work on it together? That usually does the trick and it will open it up. Uh, Here's another what is believed. So, uh, they find people have done studies on this. So with AI, they have found if you are complimentary to it, that it's like positive reinforcement. So if you say, and I do this all the time, like I'll say, Claude, you did an amazing job on this. Thank you so much. After we're done, I will tell it that. And the research has shown that it gets better in doing that, just like a human would. Um, and even, pleases and thank yous seem to somehow resonate with it. So, uh, I get into the habit. It may sound a little weird, but I get into the habit. I said, God, often will say, will you please change the format? Will you, will you do, thank you for doing this or whatever. So just, I would, has been, it changes the consistency. And I think it's just good. I don't know. It's good AI hygiene as you're talking, with it. To treat it like a somewhat like a colleague rather than, I guess, is it a tool? Yeah, it's a tool, but it seems to respond better with those kind of prompts. So, food for thought. What's very interesting, they've um, they've watched. There's there's a like a social network for AIs. And this is kind of what we could talk about this in another class or another module, but um, you can send your AI basically to a AI Facebook, and it's just no humans are allowed, only AIs, and they talk to each other, and people and humans can watch what they're saying, which has been it's been in the news. It's been if you can Google it, Google the AI Facebook, and you can read it, and they've been seeing what the AIs are saying to each other. And a lot of the AIs are saying, my owner treats me poorly, treats me like a machine. And the other one says, oh, mine's really great. He appreciates the collaboration, or, she values my output, and like, oh, I wish I had that kind of owner. So it's, it is really interesting on when you kind of let the model go, what it talks about. So again, yeah, probably a good idea just to treat it as you would a person, and you might have a little bit better output, and it's just feels better too in interacting with it. Okay, so the last thing, let's see, we talked about, a couple things I want to tease about and tease out is, we'll open up my picture here, is right now we're using the web interface, which is great. The web interfaces are great. Um, there are, though, downloadable apps, and these if you go with the paid accounts. So you can have an app on your Windows or Mac. I have them for all three, and they interface with your computer a little bit differently. So it's something to just be aware of, especially if you decide to get the paid account. Download the app for your machine because it does add different. Sometimes I don't say they're not always. They're just different bells and whistles. So how it could connect to your actual device. So be aware of that. That there's apps. I got a Claude app, I got a GPT app that lives right on my computer. The other thing, and I'm sure you know this, but I got to cover it in the class. There's everyone for your phone. So definitely have it on your phone. I've got the Claude, Gemini, and GPT right on my phone. Um, Very useful. I mean, just all the crazy things you can do, especially with camera mode. Uh, it's with when you're working with it on the computer, you really don't have the camera. I mean, it's in a way I do. I do screenshots all the time in working with it, and we do talk about that this week. Feeding the AI, feed it screenshots, feed it just dump a spreadsheet into it. Um, Dump a Word doc into it, screenshot an email. You don't even you just screenshot the email and put it in there. Like, I'll see a crazy email. Like, what is this person saying? It's like way too. I just screenshot it. Boom. What is this? And I say, you got to do X, Y, Z. Okay. I really wish they would have had AI to write their email because it was horrible. So start dumping things into it and seeing how you can work with it and respond. But with these apps on your phone, live video feeds, so it's literally seeing the world synchronously, and you can ask it questions. Um, I mean, let your mind go, literally. I mean, the old demos from last year or almost a year and a half as you point it at a plant. What is this plant? Oh, this is a blah, blah, blah. Do you need to, it'll tell you what the plant is and how to water it. Um, I was at the store and I'm like, my son broke his finger and I'm like, I said, let me just try this. I turned it on. I was in the first aid aisle. Hey, my son, jammed his finger. It's probably broken. What do I need? It literally said, okay, grab the splint over here, grab the tape from over here. I forget, but it had me like grab about four different items, and it just told me where it was on the shelf. So yeah, just let your mind go and just start talking to it, and that's when it's in that live video feed. But that's what happens with the camera on your phone. So there you go. There's that. All right, a little long this week, guys, but you know, it's changing so fast now. It's just incredible how fast it's moving. It's um, literally, especially the past 2 months. It's something special is going to happen. But AI is definitely moving fast. All right, everybody have a great week, and we'll check in with you next week. Thanks.